The latest description on Coffee Talk with Begum goes like this: a wannabe gentleman's journey to be semi-sophisticated. Coffee Talk with Begum began as a Facebook post, morphed into a grief journey, became a story about living again, magically turned into a hub to display crafts and woodworking, technologically advanced itself into the Toddcast, and now evolves into a Gen Xer trying to find his way and be a better man. I'm reading a lot about Stoic philosophies in my efforts to get better. This evolution of Coffee Talk with Begum is basically me working on me, and this episode is going to be the first lesson in one of the videos I've been studying and trying to take in. I've been going through other self-help type gurus on YouTube with other lessons. That'll come later from those other teachers. Since these types of videos are done from a teacher's point of view, I want to show the lesson that I'm into and give my point of view on what I'm doing to put this lesson into effect. Marcus Aurelius Life Lessons Men Learn Too Late. Lesson 1. Master your mind and master your fate. There's a kingdom no one can see, yet it rules over everything a man does. The kingdom of the mind. All victories and all defeats begin here. The richest man, if he is a slave to his thoughts, is poor. Poorest man, if he commands his thoughts, is free. Marcus Aurelius knew this truth better than most. Even as Emperor of Rome, he wrote to himself not about armies and conquests, but about clarity, patience, and the art of ruling his own mind. For what good is it to rule an empire if one cannot rule the self? The mind is both master and servant. When left untamed, it drags you through storms of anger, pride, and fear. When trained, it becomes a lamp in the darkness. Most men spend their lives trying to change the world while leaving their own thoughts in chaos. They polish their armor, but they never clean the mirror of their soul. They seek control in every direction but inward. And that, Marcus would say, is why they suffer. To master your mind does not mean to suppress every feeling or to pretend that pain doesn't exist. It means to understand the nature of thought itself, to see how easily the mind clings to illusion. It's like a restless child, forever chasing what shines and fleeing what hurts. The Stoics taught that peace is not found by eliminating desire, but directing it wisely. You can't stop the wind, but you can adjust your sails. Imagine this. You wake up one morning to find the sky gray, your plans destroyed, and someone else's careless words still echoing in your head. You feel frustration rise like a wave, but instead of reacting, you pause. You breathe. You watch the thoughts that say this is unfair. You realize it's only a voice, not truth, not destiny, just a habit of the mind. You let the wave pass and the day continues. What changed? Not the weather, nor the world, only your perception. And in this small act of mastery, you've turned fate itself to your side. This is the essence of Stoic strength. A delayed train can be a curse or can be a chance to think. A loss can be a tragedy or a teacher. But what happens and how you feel lies in your greatest power, the power to change your response. Marcus Aurelius called this the citadel within, the inner fortress that no storm can breach. But mastering the mind is not a single moment of victory. It's a lifelong discipline. Each day the world will test your inner walls. Someone will provoke you, disappoint you, deceive you. Fortune will rise and fall like the tide. Every time your mind will want to react, to defend, to attack, to despair. If you pause before you act, if you learn to stand in the space between stimulus and response, you will begin to taste real freedom. This freedom is not giving, it's earned through awareness. You must learn to watch your thoughts as you would watch the clouds passing across the sky. Do not chase them. Do not fight them. Simply see them for what they are. A thought is not truth. It's a passing wind. One moment it says you're not enough. The next you deserve more. But who is the you that hears these whispers? The deeper self, the silent observer. This is what Marcus sought to strengthen. In mastering the mind, humility is essential. The mind is a clever deceiver. It tells you stories that feel like wisdom but are only ego in disguise. When you feel certain you're right, pause and ask, am I seeking truth or comfort? When anger burns, ask, is this anger serving me or am I serving it? These questions are not weakness. It's the sharpening of the soul. The world will always give you reasons to lose control. People will insult you. People will fail. The body will weaken, but these are conditions of life, not the causes of suffering. Suffering begins when the mind refuses to accept what is. The Stoics called this resistance the root of misery. To fight against what already exists is like shouting at the sea. The waves don't care. Peace begins when you stop demanding that the world obey you and instead learn to direct yourself within. Do not mistake mastery for indifference. A calm mind is not a cold one. It feels everything deeply, joy, pain, love, loss, but it does not drown in them. It sees emotion as a visitor, not a ruler. When sadness comes, it says you may stay for a while, but you will not build a home here. When anger knocks, it listens, learns, and lets go. The master of the mind does not resist emotion. He transforms it into understanding. Every moment offers a chance to practice this. When someone offends you, thank them silently. They've given you a test of patience. When a plan collapses, see it as a lesson in adaptability. When loneliness visits, use it to know yourself better. The man who can turn every experience into wisdom has truly mastered his mind. And what happens when such mastery deepens? Life itself begins to change. The noise of the world grows quieter, not because it disappears, but because your attention no longer feeds it. You stop reacting to every shadow and start seeing the light that it casts. You realize that most battles were never out there. They were always within. And slowly, without effort, you become what Marcus Aurelius described: calm in the midst of storms, kind among the cruel, and free even among chains. To master your mind is not to gain control over life, but to live in harmony with it. It is to understand that the mind, like water, reflects clearly only when it's still. If you keep stirring it with worry and desire, you see nothing but distortion. When you let it rest, the truth appears on the surface. In the end, every man must choose to be ruled by his thoughts or to be ruled by them. The first path leads to slavery, to endless reacting, blaming, and regretting. The second leads to freedom, to serenity that no circumstance can steal. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, lived surrounded by turmoil, betrayal, and war. Yet his words still echo through time, calm and unshaken. You have the power over mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. And that, perhaps, is the greatest lesson men learn too late. The truest victory is not over the world, but over oneself. I'm going to put a link to the YouTube video that I was watching and studying on this. It's called Marcus Aurelius, Life Lessons Men Learn Too Late. This is the first part in, I think it's 7 in the series. He says, the mind is both a master and a servant. When left untamed, it drags you through storms of anger, pride, and fear. When trained, it becomes a lamp in the darkness. And I think that is what sets the tone for this entire thing. That's our goal here, is the tamed mind and getting past these storms of anger. To master your mind means to understand the nature of thought itself, to see how easily the mind clings to illusion. My shrink has been drilling this into my head for a while, and my problem is that 40 years of telling myself the same bullshit is not paying off now. I've painted myself into this corner and I'm trying to fix it. The Stoics taught that peace is not found by eliminating desire, but directing it wisely. You can't stop the wind, but you can adjust your sails. In the example story in this lesson, your plans are destroyed. And that's something that triggers the rage factor in me. What it wants you to do here is when you feel that frustration wave rise, instead of reacting, pause, breathe, watch the thought that says this is unfair. You realize it's only a voice, not truth, not destiny, just a habit of the mind. You let the wave pass, the day continues. What changed? Not the weather, not the world, only your perception. And that small act of mastery, you've turned fate itself to your side. This is the essence of stoic strength. That is something I'm trying to work into my daily. That is something I'm trying to fix. Another point it makes is events are neutral until your mind paints them with meaning. Between what happens and how you feel lies your greatest power, the power to choose your response. Mastering the mind is not a single moment of victory, but a lifelong discipline. Each day the world tests your inner walls. Someone will provoke you, disappoint you, and deceive you. This is going to happen every day. If you pause before you act, if you learn to stand still in the space between stimulus and response, you begin to taste real freedom. Another thing is that in mastering your mind, humility is essential. When you feel certain you're right, pause and ask, am I seeking truth or comfort? When anger burns, ask, is this anger serving me or am I serving it? Am I seeking truth or comfort? When pausing to make your response, that is the question to ask. In the pause between your measured action and your response, am I seeking truth or comfort? And is this anger serving me or am I serving it? Are very logical grounding questions, in my opinion. This sounds like something that I need to put into practice more often, and it sounds like something that's going to help. In the pause before your response, ask yourself, am I seeking truth or comfort? Is this anger serving me or am I serving it? Those two questions are very grounding questions that can set your mind right before making your response. Plans will fail. The body will weaken. These are the conditions of life, not the causes of suffering. I've been treating it as the causes of suffering my entire life, and that's what's gotten me to this way, but that's not the case. The body weakening, plans failing, shit like that is just what's going to happen. The Stoics called this resistance the root of misery. Peace begins when you stop demanding that the world obey you and instead learn to direct yourself within it. Asking these questions, am I seeking truth or comfort, or is this anger serving me or am I serving it, is something I believe can get me into a position of making a better response. Peace begins when you stop demanding that the world obey you and instead learn to direct yourself within it. My response is what I'm going to need to work on. When they say don't mistake mastery for indifference, it means to see emotion as a visitor, not a ruler. When sadness comes, it says you could stay here for a while, but you will not build a home here. When anger knocks, listen, learn, and let it go. This is a lot easier said than done. I've been working on the whole let it go thing for a long time. Hopefully the tools that I'm going through is something that will help me get this in order. When a plan collapses, see it as a lesson in adaptability. I need to change my attitude in that pause and not lash out. The man who could turn every experience into wisdom has truly mastered his mind. To master your mind is not to gain control over life, but to live in harmony with it. In the end, every man must choose to be ruled by his thoughts or to rule them. So all that being said, what I'm working on here is the pause. From now on, when that anger rises, whenever I am faced with any of this, I want to pause and ask those questions. And I think I can get grounded enough to control my response. That's what I'm getting from this entire lesson here. So I'm going to put that into play and start with it and try to get better. That's lesson 1 in controlling your shit. In the beginning of it, it said, left untamed, your mind drags you through storms of anger, pride, and fear. When trained, it's a lamp in the darkness. I'm trying to do that. So check out the video. If anybody's interested in anything self-help wise, following what I'm doing, watching me trying to get better, if anybody has anything they want to add to it, there's a comment section for you. I'm trying to figure it out as I go. I hope some of this is making sense. The whole time I'm doing this, I'm working on my voice. The whole time I'm doing this, I'm working on production skills. I'm working on trying to make this better. I hope I can put some content out there that means something to somebody. This is just me working on me, and I hope you get something out of it. Leave some comments. Check out the description for some links. Check out the description for the link to this video that I'm watching. And stay tuned for more. Thank you guys for listening in. Big love, y'all. Enjoy the coffee.